I think it's absolutely an affront to democracy that the Royal Commission should be putting up a system where not only the super mayor but 10 councillors will be elected at large, no ward system, which means that it's very likely that only someone who's very rich or very famous will ever have a chance of being elected to any of those positions.
Also concerned that they have wiped out all but 3 of the local community boards in Auckland. The community boards, we were hoping that community boards would be strengthened because we see them as a great venue for local grassroots participation, and I cannot understand why they would just wipe all the community boards or indeed turn the other 8 councils, 6 councils into effectively local branch offices. Well, we were quite happy to give more power and leadership role to the regional council so that it could implement things like the environmental and transport initiatives at a regional level. But we wanted that counterbalanced by really strengthened local community councils, which would be community boards with much more power so that they could really be like local grassroots democracy.
And what we'd really like to see now is once the government comes back with its decision next week about how it's going to react to it, we would like the chance for Aucklanders to be consulted and have a say on what the government's response is rather than taking it straight to legislation in a big rush. Unifying all the council-owned organisations and functions does have some upsides. For example, in the area of transport, from the Green Party point of view, we'd always be hoping that having a much more integrated public transport system, of course, should be the future of Auckland, and we'd love to see that happening, and dealing with a whole lot of environmental issues in a much more coherent way would be a wonderful thing for our region. But the downside of what they're proposing could be that they'll basically end up corporatising and then getting ready to sell off a whole lot of our public assets, and that would be the worst possible thing that could happen.
I think another concern is that the councils, the existing councils, they are reducing virtually all of their powers, except for example, controlling graffiti and brothels and a few minor things. So they're shrinking their powers, effectively turning them into local branch offices of the super city